Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Before we start, can I just get a couple of you to type yes into the conversation box? I just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay and that you're all logged in perfectly. That's great. So I can see a lot of you are joining me this evening. Thank you so much for making time in your diary. Okay. Hi guys. Hi Lucy. Hi Katie. Hi Pippa. Hi Rose. Oh, that's great. Okay. So, as I said, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I'm so bowled over by how many of you have registered and are giving up some of your evening time to listen to me. A special hello to those of you who have shared some very long hours with me on the eventing field. I know this is out of season now, so you're catching up with everything else, but hi to you guys. This is my first webinar, and this topic is something I'm frequently questioned on. So once we've gone through this course, you'll have the knowledge and tools to go forward and book these shoots in with total confidence. Firstly, I'd like to introduce myself properly. Some of you may already know me, but I've been an established equestrian photographer for just over 10 years. When I started my photography business, I not only photographed horses, but also weddings, events, and families. I have been pretty much exclusive to horses over the past 6 years, and this has been split into equestrian commercial images and private commissions. I've had 7 magazine front covers and many of my images sold into publications. A lot of you would have seen my work with Harry Mead, William Fox Pitt, and Mary and Emily King, along with many other eventers. Although I enjoyed working with these top performers, in the last 3 years, I've really only taken on private commissions for equine portrait sessions, so that I can concentrate on my portrait work and training up-and-coming equine photographers. Before I forget, I'm just going to share my webcam so you guys can see me. Perfect, there I am. Hopefully that helps you. Okay, so enough about me. This webinar is executing a successful photo shoot with children and their ponies. When I say children, I mean under 16s. I've broken down this type of session into the steps I follow, and you'll be amazed at how much goes into one of these shoots and what makes it work. Tonight, we're going to go over preparing your client, and this includes mum and dad, styling and outfit advice, locations and how I use them, how to pose the pony and child in my top locations, and creating a fun and relaxed atmosphere for your photo shoot. So let's get into preparation. Okay. First of all, preparation is key. Before parents book a photo shoot for their child, they're going to have a few questions and potentially some reservations. You need to be ready for these and bring up questions they won't even know that they have. This settles clients into feeling confident that you're an expert in your field and you know what you're doing. This is one of the main differences in photographing children and their ponies as opposed to adults with their horses. You have mum and dad involved in the whole experience as well. You also have the safety of the little one with their pony. They'll often ask me, what do I do if the pony refuses to play ball? I assure them, most parents worry about this, but it is so unlikely that you'll ever get a pony to completely mess up a shoot. The reason we are good at our jobs is because we know horses as well as photography. When I speak to a parent, I talk with confidence and passion. I assure mum and dad that I can see when a pony or child has had enough in a spot or needs to be sort of woken up a bit. I'm happy to be hands-on with them and have been around horses since I was 3. I know how quick and cheeky ponies can be, so if you talk like this to parents, they'll soon ease into your confidence. I often refer to ponies as being easier to photograph than horses, as they are actually more interested in having the limelight on them. They enjoy the attention and everyone congratulating him after each set of images, even though from the pony's point of view, he hasn't actually done anything. I describe in full what a full equine photo shoot with me is like. What are the extra steps that you can take to ensure your client and their pony is going to be relaxed, having fun, and most of all, safe? I constantly refer back to previous clients, therefore instilling into the mum and dad that I'm experienced in this and it's nothing unusual for me. You need to be the voice of authority and an expert. Make sure you have your client form in front of you when you're speaking to potential clients. This can be face-to-face, it can be over Skype, or it can be over a phone call. Write down all the information they're giving you about their child and their pony. It's so important that you refer back to this knowledge, as it shows you really care that they're your number one client at that point, and who doesn't want to feel like that? I recently had a shoot with a girl and her pony that her mum had bought her for her 12th birthday. The pony was on loan and had been with the family for about 3 years. The shoot was to remember the pony, as mum knew it wouldn't be long before her daughter would outgrow her. I didn't bring up the fact that she wouldn't have her for much longer, but I did mention that we were creating these beautiful memories of this friendship between them, and I could see they had learned a lot together. Listening and hearing your clients is really important, and kids love to tell you about their beloved pony. Because I remembered all of their information and I knew this was about capturing the friendship they had grown so evidently between them, they not only purchased multiple frames, canvases and an album, but they're already thinking about the next shoot with their new pony. It's all part of the experience that we give our clients. They need to feel really, really special. So here are some of my suggestions on the questions that you can ask people. Are they part of a pony club? Do they hunt? Do they event? Do you all ride as a family? How long have they had their pony? How old is the child? The pony's name, breed and colour, and what's the pony's character like? Now, I love asking a question about the pony's character. It opens a lot of doors for reassuring clients that all will be fun and relaxed on the shoot day. If they say, well, my pony can be a bit bolshy and I'm not sure he'll stand still for very long, I will let them know that I love ponies for this and used to have one very similar. I'll also add that what I found interesting in most cases is that when people say, I don't think my pony will stand still and I'm not sure he'll behave, these are the ones that will perform. Normally because they fidget because they want your attention, and they don't get much more attention than the owner, their own photographer and mum and dad and the helpers all looking and cooing over them. So this immediately settles the client. I then run through the Photoshoot experience with me. This is your opportunity to get your client excited and relaxed about the shoot itself. Go through each step of the shoot and what they should expect. Everyone likes a plan, so make sure they have this in writing as well so their expectations are managed. In brief, my run through would be coffee or tea on arrival, meet the pony and child and have a good chat. Get to know the yard, choose my locations and ask where I can and cannot go. Discuss the outfits they have selected. Pick 3 to 4 outfits and then shoot each set of images in my chosen locations. I always add that we take regular breaks, and if at any point the pony is getting fidgety, we simply move on. Having an extra pair of hands, which could be mum, dad, a friend, a groom, it's key to a fun and relaxed photo shoot. Someone to hold the pony when it's needed and to rattle the bucket. After you've run through a typical photo shoot with them, you now want to prepare the child and pony's wardrobe. Choosing and picking their outfits. Here you can see just some of the outfits this client brought to her shoot. By this point in the process, I will have sent the client my style guide. This shows simple suggestions of the 3 styles I want them to select. My styles are smart, smart casual, and casual fun, but this can be totally up to you. The colours want to be neutral and soft, no big logos or patterns, and remind them also to choose accessories such as scarves, hats, and boots. Also, if the child is known for wearing something like a bubble hat all the time or earmuffs or something like that, tell them to include it into their photo shoot. They can select more than 3 choices and you can help them put the outfits together on your shoot day. I average about 3 or 4 outfits per photo shoot. The aim on any shoot is variation. So if you have a client with a wonderful wardrobe and a great selection of locations, use them. The more variations you offer, the more images you will sell. An outfit change doesn't have to be a change in everything they're wearing. For example, if I have a client who wears fitted trousers, long boots, a floaty top, a jumper over, a fitted coat, and a hat and scarf, then I've got 3 or 4 variations without sending her back to the tack room to change. Wearing it all is variation number 1. Removing her hat and scarf is variation number 2. Removing her coat is number 3. Removing her jumper is number 4. And then maybe adding back the hat is number 5. So you can get a lot of variations with only 3 full outfits. So now we come to preparing the pony's wardrobe. Keeping it simple is key here. A black or brown leather head collar with a dark lead rope plus a clean bridle. I've had clients in the past that have suggested boots and wraps for their horses. So personally, I try and avoid this, as they invariably get mucky after the first set of images, and then you either have to suggest that they remove them or you have fun in Photoshop. Confirm to your client that unless it's something they really, really want, it's best to keep it as simple as possible when it comes to dressing their pony. They need to be smart, washed, and unplaited. Some clients do like to plait their horses for a photo shoot, but I would recommend unplaited and natural. It's about capturing the pony and the child at this age and their friendship and connection right now. So, preparing them for purchase. This is such an important part of preparing your client, yet it gets missed so often. You don't want to bombard your client with the products you sell and how they must display your images after the shoot. I also know that you don't want to put the client off by starting the sales process of the experience, but remember, you are offering the whole service because these images are going to be print worthy and memories they want to display for everyone to love and see forever. And you take care of this for them. Casually drop in how previous clients have displayed their images and that you have these products in the studio for them to preview. There's no big push, you're just moving them into the right mindset. It actually reminds me of a quick story I'd like to share about this image. I was asked a little while ago to photograph 3 family members, 2 brothers and a cousin, all under the age of 12, with their ponies for their grandmother. I had individually prepped the mums and I knew what they were looking for from the shoot. They wanted a group shot of all 3 together, including the ponies, individual portraits, ridden portraits, and then just portraits of the 3 boys together. Right, easy, right? So all 3 ponies and little riders were based at Granny's house. When I arrived there for the shoot, she had other ideas. She very sweetly had found a picture of her and her 2 sisters from when they were little and wanted to replicate that. So cool. I told her right up my street, definitely. What a lovely moment to recreate, except she didn't want any other shots. She told me there was no point having other shots done as she wouldn't want them. This is where your confidence and quick thinking need to happen. So I explained to her that I was actually booked for the 2-hour photo shoot. The ponies had been bathed, the children had their best outfits all picked out, and the location was in full autumn bloom. So I suggested that we secure the image that's really important to her, the recreation, and if the boys were up for it, we could work on some fun, relaxed shots, basically what the mums wanted. There wouldn't be any extra cost for the time because that's what they'd already booked me for, but we'll give the opportunity for the mums, if they'd like them, to pick their images, and Granny might want to see some others. I also explained that the boys are only this age once, and it's not for long that they can fit in with such tiny ponies and they're all best friends. I then reminded her how special the image she held in her hands was, and said that the photographer probably took a few to choose from, so it's worth having a choice. Of course, she said yes, and came up with tons of other suggestions, as grannies do. What was so lovely, she totally stuck to her guns on the recreated image, the one above, and she also bought another framed image because she totally fell in love with it. Just before this shot, the boys had a gorgeous moment under the trees where none of the ponies were playing ball and the dog ran off. The boys howled with laughter, and this is the shot she adores. Isn't that gorgeous? So it's not always just the people you have booked the shoot. So it's not always people who have booked the shoot who you need to prepare or be prepared for. Make notes of who these shots are for and who might turn up at the shoot. When you're preparing your client for purchasing, a good rule of thumb is to ask if they've thought about where they might hang any of these images and whether they'd be looking to get fun, relaxed, formal, or a mix of styles framed. This allows the client to start thinking about preparing their mindsets to prints and frames, not just the digitals. They'll also start looking at their walls very differently in their home. Last but not least, on preparation, equipment check. So before you leave, make sure your kit is all cleaned and working, your batteries are charged, get all your cards cleared and ready. Then I go through my client form and I confirm the phone numbers that I might need, which include their mobiles, because if they're at a yard, obviously their home phone isn't going to be any help to you. I confirm their locations, any gate codes that you might need to yards, and any final direction details. When I have my last phone call with a client, I always make sure I ask them, do you know of any directions that might help me find your yard? Because invariably, as we all know, country houses and farms are on back lanes and we need to make sure that we're there on time or maybe a little bit earlier. I do always make sure I have enough time to find the location just in case it's not really, really obvious or I get stuck behind something slow. Okay, so on arrival. When I arrive at the yard, I meet everyone that will be involved in the photo shoot. This can include yard managers, grooms, and parents. Chat about the pony and try to remember all of the information they have already given you. If they offer you a tea or coffee, take it, unless you don't like tea or coffee. It allows everyone to have one and to settle into the shoot. When I start the process with this type of shoot, you need to consider the parents just as much as the child. The parents are the ones that have committed to the final selection of images, and they're trusting you with the child, the pony, and recording these memories. Chat with them about each step of the shoot and reinforce what action you can keep their child safe and what to do if the pony gets frustrated. Have a walk around the yard and have your notepad with you to make notes of the locations you want to shoot in. Discuss all of these with the client and let them know why you're picking that spot. I check the lighting and the locations I've chosen. So the pony's own field, this is one that you need to bring up and just have a quick conversation. I try and avoid using the field that the pony's kept in, only because, as you know, when a pony goes into their own field, they're expecting to be let loose. So they can get really fidgety in here, especially when they don't take their head collar or bridle off. They'll just look expectantly at the owner and say, oh, come on, you know, this is where I hang out. You can take it off now. So if you only have that field to use, be it that's your last location, end your set of images in that field. But if you've got other fields you can use, do use them. Avoid using the pony's own field. As I'm walking around the location, I'll keep up the questions on them and the life they have with their pony. After I've selected my locations, I then go through the outfits my client has brought with them. So in my experience, they'll bring a range of clothing and will ask you to find lighter styles and put them together. I love doing this. If you're not confident in if you're not confident in putting outfits together, go and research Pinterest and create your mood boards of styles that work and that don't work. Knowing what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to include. Remember to pick outfits not just for the child. Think about what the parents want to see the child in. Don't just pick the kids' favourite clothing. The parents will want to see them in the coat that they spent all that money on, or the jumper they love seeing them in. Another top tip, actually, is if you can grab one of mum's jumpers for the child, a nice sort of roll neck or something a bit squishy, I've found that that's worked 100% of the time, because mum obviously loves seeing the child sort of almost playing dress up in her clothing, but it looks it's within keeping of the photo shoot. So after we've done the outfit choices, I then make a plan of action for the shoot with the client and mum and dad. Which locations I'll start in, then the outfit changes, and which extras mum might need to hold, such as coats and accessories, and so on. I keep an eye on my timings, and when you have the shot, move on and keep the pace up. Horses get fidgety and ponies even more so. Posing. So here I have a list of my top locations on a yard shoot that I look for. These are the stable shot, walking shots, in the field, on a track, sitting, leaning, and on the pony. So I start with the stable shot. So in the stable is resting over the door, relaxed hands, stand up tall, the door open and leaning, keep smiling, horse to bend towards the owner, standing, leaning, and crouching. So I'm going to go through these now with you. So first of all, stable shots. These images sell 100%. I start each shoot in the stable. This gives the pony and owner a chance to relax and not think about too much. Simply be together and enjoy some easy cuddles. Some of the little ones won't be able to have the door closed as they won't be tall enough, but you can do these poses with the door open. Or if you feel it will work, have them stand on a bucket so they can see properly over the door. This does work for some, especially if you've got a taller pony. This is one of the big differences in photographing children instead of adults, but you can see here that there are many options to use the stable as the first location without compromising on the variation or quality. So before you get the pony and client into the stable, remember to look at the background. So you want to look out for, are there any rugs hanging in there? Is there a water bucket visible? Is there a hay net in the background? And remove all of these because they will be a distraction. Another tip, top tip, string. There's always string tied up outside the stable. Just remove it, because otherwise we're going through Photoshop and we're removing it. So I do 3 variations in the stable. Over the door, and I make sure the horse's nose comes over the door. If they're too small to see over the door, simply stand them together with the owner 45 degrees towards the pony and make sure that they're nice and close. Remember to put that lead rope behind the door or nice and tidy in one hand. Then I move on to door open and the owner leaning against the door frame. I have a quick sweep of the bed so it doesn't infringe on the image too much. I ask them to raise that outside leg against the frame, stand nice and straight, and you want the pony to be engaged with the owner, and you can get a gorgeous bend with the pony here because they'll start looking at them. And then knelt down with the pony's head into their lap. It's really tempting as an owner to hold on tight to the pony, so relaxing the hands and arms make a huge difference, especially for this pose. People don't realize they're doing it, and you'll need to remind them throughout the shoot. We want the pony's nose to come right down into their tummy. The pony will naturally wonder what the owner is doing crouched down, so be ready to shoot as soon as they've crouched. If you need a polo or a small handful of nuts that will help you here, have them at the ready. However, try it first without, because once you've given a pony a treat, they will look for them. Repeat to the client to keep looking at you or their pony and keep smiling. The shot will happen in a split second, and you don't want to miss it because the client is mouthing something to their pony. This is normally good boy, and as you can see from me, it doesn't make a very nice face. So walking images for me are complete winners. So I'm just going to have a quick drink. Oh, thank you. Okay. So most ponies will pop their ears forward easily while walking towards me, clicking away. If you have any struggles with this, make sure you have your helper with something in their hand, like a scarf. Make sure they don't spook the pony, but if you're struggling to get their ears forward, get the helper to gently wave the scarf in the air. It'll catch the pony's eye and they'll pop their ears forward. Don't do it constantly because you ultimately want the pony to be engaged with the owner, not looking afraid at the person waving the scarf. So when I talk about the walking shots, and we're going to do 2 different forms, we're going to be walking towards and walking away, but with both of them, you want the client's head up, relaxed hands and tidy reins and lead rope. Try and get them to hold the reins in one hand if they can. But again, walking away, it looks, as you can see from this image, she's got it nice and relaxed in 2 hands. Keep smiling, even walking away, keep smiling. Ask them to look at the pony and look forward. Ask them to put one foot in front of the other as slowly as possible and keep the connection. So don't have the pony 2 feet away from the owner. Okay. Walking away first. Excuse me. If you don't have a stable shot to start with, then this is the perfect starter shot. This shot allows the client to stay calm, and because the pony's walking, they can't really fidget and they don't tend to pull horrible faces. When I describe the walking to a client, I say, just walk your pony down the track away from me. I'll point out where on the track I would like them to walk, and then I will tell them to place one foot in front of the other as if they're walking a very straight line, and to go as slowly as possible without holding the pony back. Obviously, you don't want the pony running in front of them or them trying to honk the pony back. Remind the owner to look forward and at their pony while they're walking away from you. So here are 2 gorgeous walking away images that have been great sellers. And walking towards. For the walking towards, I get down nice and low for these shots as I like this perspective. So think about what you're including in this frame. If the surrounds add to the location like these 2 do, then make sure you include them. But if you've got, say, a barbed wire fence each side and it's the only track you can find, then shoot it portrait at a lower f-stop to blur out the background as much as possible and get in nice and tight to the owner and pony. Don't forget that quiet village roads can act as a lovely track, and your client should always also know of local bridleways nearby. On your drive to the shoot, it's always a good idea to note any woodlands or bridleways in walking distance from their yard, just in case you need to use these as options. So if you're going to use a local bridleway or local woods that you've got access to, or even if you're going to use that really quiet village road, The main priority here is to stay safe. The pony needs to be safe, the child needs to be safe, and you need to be safe. If it's a super quiet road and everyone's on, on form for doing that, that's absolutely right to use it. Again, ask lots of questions. So ask them, do you take your pony up this bridleway often? Do you normally canter your pony up this bridleway? Things like that. If they do always canter that pony up, the pony's going to expect to do it again. So just think about all these safety aspects when you're doing this. So my next location and posing is in the field. In the field, we've got multiple posing options, but watch your light, look out for long grass, check the view, look for hedge lines, and bring that connection back. So I'm just going to go through this one by one. So things to look out for when photographing in fields: lighting. It can be totally typical that the most beautiful spot in the perfect background has got the sun right on it. So you can still work with this, but you need to get a little bit clever with making sure the owner hasn't got bright sunshine into their eyes. I'm going to talk about this a bit later, about using the pony to give a natural shadow over the client, but this is one place that you can do this. Try to find a field with long grass. It doesn't have to be a big patch, it can be a really small patch, but it does create these beautiful shots. And remember that if you're going to be using long grass, the pony will invariably put his head down and try and have a nibble. So I tend to recommend using the bridle in long grass, just so they've got a bit more control. Remember, this shoot is all about the connection. It doesn't matter how beautiful the location is, if the connection isn't there, the shot won't work. This is your #1 priority. Okay, so my top poses for the fields. So first of all, pony's bottom towards me, client facing the pony and looking back at me, and try and get the pony to then bend their head around the client and looking back at me. Again, your helper is going to help with this. Just by maybe making a noise or just talking loudly, the pony will naturally come around to see what's going on. Then have the pony 45 degrees towards me, tuck the owner in by their shoulder with the reins nice and neat, as you can see in the top right image. And then pony front onto me, client 45-degree angle and looking at each other. So you can see that in the bottom left image. And that's one where the sun was, as you can see, shining at the back of her head. But because I've turned her towards the pony, she's got a nice flat light on her face. And then #4, which is the bottom right, looking at the view. If the pony will stand still and have the owner leaning into their neck if the pony's big enough, or leaning over their back if the pony's smaller, these totally work. You can see from the bottom right example, this pony was very happy to chill out looking at the view. So my owner had time to cross her legs and perfect her pose for this shot. Do these view shots, especially if you're photographing the pony at home, because the parents love the fact that the pony lives at home, the child's at home, and they can see their land or their garden or their house in the background. It really adds to the authenticity of the image. Just a quick note on crop fields while we're looking at the bottom two. If you're lucky enough to be photographing a client at their home or on a farm and you see a magical crop field like the examples, make sure you have full permission from the owner, and that means the owner or the farmer. I come from a farming family, and hoof prints are not loved by farmers, and they will always know. Okay, on a track. I adore using tracks for shots. I look for lines and natural framing. Remember to keep them relaxed while they're walking or standing still. So if we look at this next slide, the line of this track draws the eye through the image. I always imagine that the viewer is also wondering, oh, what's around that corner? And you can see that the girl is relaxed, she doesn't have tight reins, and she has this great connection. This shot was a split-second moment, as the pony did not stay still for long. You can just see his back foot coming away from the ground as he wanted to walk off, but I prepped her to keep smiling at him, and nice relaxed body language and arms. You can see that the hedge line next to her also draws the eye towards the owner and the pony, and the trees above her frame the shot beautifully. This will come naturally to you as you produce more and more work, but having the natural frame included in the shot is a big bonus. I look out for this wherever I am. So here's some more gorgeous images. My top 3 poses for tracks and paths are Pony side onto me with the owner tucked into their neck, and get that beautiful bend of the pony's head around the owner. Both owner and pony facing towards me. Get the owner to turn 45 degrees towards their pony and make sure there's about a foot between them. I then want the pony's head to bend towards the owner and show that beautiful bend again. Another tip is when you're getting a client to stand there with the pony, either ask them to cross their legs, like in example, top left and bottom left, or just ask them to put their weight on their back foot. And I always find that if you show them how to do it by doing it yourself, it's easier for them to copy. And again, they'll be thinking of a million things, so they just need to visualize it. They need to see you doing it. Another one, if they've got two ponies, get them set up either side of the owner. You still want ears forward and ideally the horse is talking. But as we all know, this can turn into some really ugly, funny faces being pulled between the ponies. So make sure that you're totally ready for the moment to happen and warn the client that they need to be looking at you and gently smiling for that moment to be captured quickly, because you'll see in the bottom right, it's a really beautiful shot and both of the ponies' ears are towards each other, but I guarantee a split second after that, they would both have their ears back, pulling faces at each other. Okay, sitting. So top tips for sitting: neat feet tucked to the side, keep their back straight, keep smiling at me and the pony, and get the pony to look down towards the owner. So crouching and sitting is another favourite of mine. I love the fact that the pony's automatic reaction is to look at you and see what you're doing, asking, why are you sitting down on the job? Remember to keep their feet neatly tucked under or to one side. Keep the straight back, smiling at the pony, and get the nice stretch in the pony's neck as he comes down to them. Another tip is when you sit the child down, I normally get mum to hold the pony, and then I get mum to walk the pony in, and I leave a really big gap between. So she's still got the reins in her hand, but leave a big gap. So firstly, the pony will always move 1 foot closer because ponies just do that. But because they're far enough away, they'll put their nose down towards the owner, and then you've got that beautiful stretch that you can see in this shot, that lovely stretch. Whereas if they're right above them, then they haven't got much room to actually talk to the owner, and they won't be able to come in like this. When you've got your client in a sitting position, really think about where their feet are and keeping their back straight. So I want to talk to you quickly about a shot that I took about 4 years ago, which is this one. This is part of a set of beautiful images I shot in a client's garden. Some of these shots were with her mum and her cat as well. With all of this happening, I just missed the make sure you can't see the bottom of their shoes. Now, for this client, it didn't matter. They were thrilled with these shots and they have them framed and in an album. But to perfect this image, I should have asked her to tuck her feet to the side or just bend her knees and pop her feet on the ground. This shot still totally works. However, we all strive for perfection, and I will never do it again, because every time I look at the image, as beautiful as it is and as gorgeous as it is, I always see the bottom of her feet. Okay, so when I talk about having a set of sitting shots, I look for textures and interesting mounts to sit the child on. Things to avoid are brightly coloured seats, anything sort of plasticky, in my opinion, things like red plastic mounting blocks and anything that looks completely out of place. My favourite locations to try and find, and if you can find them, stumps and bases of trees. This also gives something to lean against and texture, and hopefully framing from the foliage that's around you as well. Wooden or brick mountain blocks. Ideally, you want them to be wooden with a nice backdrop. Although, in the image in black and white here, this was shot on a set of concrete steps, as there's always an exception to the rules. And as one of the reasons this works is so well is because of the gorgeous wood behind the client. And this image sold, she had it framed in a massive frame, and this is another one where she grabbed her mum's jumper. So I think that totally added to the authenticity of this shot. And if you can find something like a big broken branch or a log in a field, I found normally if you're on a yard, sometimes they'll have big logs that are used for cross-country jumps. Again, if the pony's going to behave itself in the cross-country field, totally use that log as part of the photo shoot. I've noticed that none of these images have the client looking at me. With them sat so close to their horse, it's such an intimate moment, and capturing this feels like a moment that's not created by me. So it's just the friendship that's shining through. So another sitting shot, which is quite interesting, is on hay bales. So you can see from this image, the horse wasn't even included in the shot, but the parents adored this image and had it framed. Remember shots like this for parents when doing a photo shoot for under 16s. So again, with some of these portraits, you can have the child on their own, or sometimes I will lean them over the back of their pony and I'll just put their hands underneath their chin and just having them look at me and then look away. But again, parents really want to see a portrait of their child that's got an equestrian feel to it. So you can really experiment with this and you can try a few different things, but don't worry if the pony isn't in every image, because after all, you are preparing and you're selling to the parents at the end of the day, and they want to remember their child at this age. So leaning against a structure such as a tree or textured wall gives a lovely chilled out feeling to the image. You can also lean the client over the pony if they'll stand long enough. So this is what I was just saying. Again, because you're not getting the pony's head in the shot, totally get mum to hold the pony, have the reins over the head. To be honest, I have also allowed ponies to nibble grass while this shot's taken, as long as they don't keep walking away. When you've set up this shot, you'll need to remind the owner to keep a straight back, nice soft hands, and allow the pony just to chat with them and relax in this position. Creating these shots is about capturing a really quiet moment between the pony and owner. The parents and owner will love this shot. It will remind the parents of the child at this age, just chilling out, enjoying the friendship with their pony, and the child will love it because she looks great and you can clearly see their friendship. So a few more leaning. Again, a variety of images. So with ponies and children, you can never quite tell what's going to happen when you position the pony and owner. Things happen that you're not expecting. The top left image was a total friendship moment. The pony and owner posed for a set of images in the stable, and the pony just nailed each shot over and over again. Every time she moved, the pony would look perfect. I asked them to look at each other, and the pony listened to me and looked at her. It was gorgeous. So as she was doing these shots, I kept saying to her, "Oh my God, I love your pony. She's totally bringing her A game to this shoot." As I said that, she turned around and gave her pony this great big hug. And that's the shot that's resulted, which has been a really popular image. Also, the flick of her toe is just the perfect pop to the shot, which I didn't ask her to do, but it's just pure love. Okay, so a little bit more on leaning. You can see from these examples here that there are a few more options on leaning over a wooden gate or wooden fence. When you're sitting a kid on a gate, check for safety. Speak to mum or the helper or whoever's with you. The pony might pull back. So again, I will get the child to sit on the gate while mum's holding the horse or pony. Get the child to sit on the gate and get them all comfortable, make sure they're safe. Then I will say, "Oh, cross your ankles," or "cross your knees." And you know, if you say "cross your ankles," you think, "Oh, that doesn't look good. No, I need to change it." That's absolutely fine. Just say, "Oh no, actually, could you just, you know, pop your," you can see from the top right hand corner, neither of them have got their ankles and knees crossed because it didn't work for that shot. And that's absolutely fine. And then once they're safe and settled on the gate, then bring the pony in and give the reins to the client. So I always say the top tips for keeping safe here: if you're going to do this in a field, make sure the field is secure. So if the pony does pull back and away from the client, he can't really go anywhere. And also, you can stand the mum just out of this shot. So again, if the pony is about to pull back, mum can quickly just grab the pony and it's not going to pull the child backwards off the gate. On gate shots or fences, you can have them. So as you can see here, we've got top left, all three behind. The middle one, she's in front, and the pony was actually, this is his stable door, but he's behind. The family, I've done both, and that was so that the height between them all was very similar, rather than having two on the ground, two much taller, and then he was a really big horse. And again, you can see through here that I've got her sitting on the gate, and then bottom middle, she's in front of the fence and the pony's behind. So there's, again, loads of variations, and you can do all these variations with just one client. Remember to change their outfits throughout these variations as well. So on the horse, safety first always, of course. So here, keep the reins tight, head to one side, legs relaxed, and also when they're leaning forward, try not to let their legs go backwards, because we don't want sort of a Lady Godiva sort of look. Front on and side on, horse's head slightly tilted if you can, and just remind them just to keep smiling and try not to get them to talking, because again, this is a split-second shot. So safety is always first. Ask the parents if it's okay. You'll always be able to see if clients ride their ponies bareback a lot, because they'll ask for this shot, and they'll seem really confident. So make sure you say to the parents, does your child ride her pony all the time bareback? If the parent's like, oh yeah, she rides her in from the field every day, or if she replies, well, she's only done it a couple of times, but I'm absolutely fine and I'll hold the pony to start with, make sure the child gets on with her hat on first. Make sure she walks around and that the horse is settled. And then once everything's been done, where you know the horse is settled, you know she's safe, take the hat off. And these shots take like 3 minutes, so you don't want to be doing these for very long. So as I said, keep the reins really tight. So I put the reins in one hand, and I get them just to tuck them under, either to one side or under their tummy. So when they lean forward, the horse's head doesn't go forward and they get pulled off. Or the horse walks away. So if they've got a loose rein, the horse will just walk forward. So again, nice tight rein. Here's a couple more sitting shots from different angles. So the girls here are totally doing the same thing essentially, but I've moved positions. Parents really love these shots, as you can get a nice tight portrait of their daughter or son with the essence of equestrian in. So as you can see from this one, I've obviously chopped or cropped the pony's head out of it, which is absolutely fine, because the mum and dad are going to look at this and know, they're going to know which pony it is, but they just want this beautiful moment in their daughter's life of her just sitting and chilling out on her pony and being really happy. So that's one you can definitely deliver for the parents. Okay, so these are my most popular poses and locations that I find really work for under 16 owners and their parents. Out of all of these, don't forget to look for those wonderful unexpected locations as well. Here is prime examples of something that you wouldn't normally find on most photo shoots. But I found this door and I knew that I could shoot from the other side to get this great shot. And the crop field, I was lying down on my tummy with a low f-stop to achieve this. The light in the right-hand image was really harsh. And as you can see, it was directly on the horse. So this is what I was talking about earlier. The only way I could use this location without the client being in direct sunlight was to get her face to be hidden or given a shadow by her pony. So I just stepped her back, and then as her pony bended, she gave her this beautiful shadow over her face. You've got a nice flat light. Otherwise, you're going to get horrible shadows and really bad lighting through her face. So it's really important that you think about all these things. Remember to experiment and get creative. Once you've nailed your safety shots, these are the ones that set you apart. Okay, so after all the locations we've chosen, outfits picked and shots taken, we need to remember some important points before and throughout this whole process, which I'll go over now. Excuse me. So the preparation of the child and parents is really important. This can be done over the phone, face-to-face, or over Skype. Hopefully you will have met with the parents and the child at a show or something, and they would have seen your work and already had a really good idea of how you work. But don't assume they know. Parents need to feel secure in their choice of photographer, so the more you prepare them and answer questions that they hadn't thought about, the more that they will feel confident in you and your talent. Keeping everyone involved is a huge deal. Just because the photo shoot is for the child and their pony, make sure you chat to mum and dad along the way. Always ask the mum and dad if they can hold the pony or help with an outfit change, so it's not taken out of their hands. I recently had a mum who said, oh, I'm not sure about having photos taken in the stable. It's not that nice, and she doesn't really love being in the stable. The daughter said she'd be fine in the stable, and it'd be a really nice place to start for her. She wanted that relaxing start. So I said to mum, if the pony doesn't like it or gets fidgety, we'll immediately move on. She was happy with that. The pony was absolutely fine. Also, when it came to the viewing, she bought 3 of the stable shots in frames as she loved them so much. and later admitted to me that she didn't think she'd like the stable shots, as all she could see was that they wouldn't be a good fit for her, and that she thought the stables were shabby. But of course, I didn't use the stables, I was using the black backdrop. It's great to hear this sometimes, because she trusted me, and my creativity and my confidence totally delivered. In giving a good experience, this also includes direction on the photo shoot. You're the one in charge here. You are the expert. If you just put the client in a stable and say, look at me, and then silence for 3 or 4 minutes, everyone's going to get really uncomfortable and awkward really quickly. Remember to keep telling them, look at me, look at the pony. Oh, that's lovely. Look towards the field. Yeah, that's great. Oh, gorgeous. What a brilliant pony. Ah, she's totally bringing her A game. I've got loads of things that I say, and I'm sure you'll all believe it, I'm constantly talking to my clients. I'm constantly reassuring them. Everything you say needs to be really positive and uplifting. If the client isn't doing something that you like, say to them, oh, let's try putting you the other side of the pony, and this time look up at your pony and just smile. Try not to chat to your pony, otherwise you might make that ooh with your mouth, although I know it's really hard not to tell me being such a good boy. Although I've told her not to do something, I've done it in a way that doesn't make them feel like I'm being bossy or that I'm telling them off. Keep directing and being positive the whole time. And I mean, if you're shooting for 4 hours, keep it going for 4 hours. If the pony is fidgety and it's really important location that you cannot simply move on from, tell the client to turn the pony in a circle, and as they land, be ready to take the shot. I remind them just to keep smiling, be relaxed, and a nice loose rein, and nice and neat. In your chat with the client, make sure you ask what they want to achieve out of the shoot. If they want an image of their child in their pony club gear in the garden, make sure you get it, because if it's missing, it will be the only thing they'll notice at the viewing. And keep the safety of everyone as a priority. So I hope you're all ready to go forward and book the next photo shoot with the child and pony. You're armed with the locations, poses, and management of the perfect photo shoot to deliver the images they'll want to purchase and love forever. Okay, so we're running a really exciting competition. So this competition is going to be open for the next 24 hours, so until 8 o'clock tomorrow night, which is Friday. When you book your space on the next Shoot and Shadow course with me, you'll also receive access to Emily Hancock's On a Yard photo shoot totally for free. The video is about 1.25 hours long, and you can follow Emily on a photo shoot of how she creates her wonderful images. This will get you totally set up for the 12th of December, which is my Shoot and Shadow course. The idea of the Shoot and Shadow course is that I've created a model with his horse. You'll join me on the shoot. I'll talk you through why I'm picking the locations that I pick, why I pick the outfits that I pick. We'll then go to the first set of images. I'll pose the client, and then you can shoot over my shoulder, next to me, or you can get a bit creative and take a different angle. The point of it is, 1, you're with me, watching me how I do a shoot. 2, you've got me next to you, so if you need to ask me questions, you've got something technical going on, you're worried about your lighting, you've wondered why I posed them like that, I'm there to answer all those questions. And 3, you're going to walk away with an entire set of images for your portfolio. So start the new year running with a brand new portfolio of images from this shoot, build your confidence and friendships with like-minded photographers on this course. Now, I will say, there are only 6 spaces on this course and 3 have already been taken. So I'm going to keep a really close eye on the website and make sure that I try and take it down as soon as they're filled. But if you're looking to get behind the scenes of one of my shoots, this is the perfect course for you. So as I said, this is open for 24 hours and you'll get a free video included in this competition. So the video is worth £97 on its own. You'll get full access to it and you can watch it as many times as you want. So a little bit more about the training barn, because as you guys know, I've just joined as an associated trainer. I've been working with Emily for about 9 years, not that either of us will admit that. We've created some new courses and we've launched some new dates for existing group training courses. So we've got a studio in the New Forest and we've got my studio that's just outside of Bath. The one-to-one tailored training days, these are really cool for anyone that has got specific questions on courses. and what they want to learn. So if you're having struggling with your actual photography or your lighting or how to pose horses, or maybe you don't know horses very well, then we can create a training day that's just tailored to this. Maybe you're worried about your pricing guide, maybe you're worried about marketing or your editing or how to do a private viewing. We will create a course that's just for you for 1 day, 2 days. We can do back to back, and it'll be totally tailored to you. So the group training, we've just launched some dates. We've got the 3-day group course. This is everything you need for your equine photography business. It's really, really intense, but it's an amazing course. We go through everything. We do about 3 or 4 photo shoots with models and horses. We go through the business, the marketing, the advertising, the processing. We go through your price list. We go through how to actually process the images, how to get a portfolio out there, doing a website, collaboration, having a trade show. It's absolutely everything within 3 days. So you'll be shattered afterwards, but you'll go away raring to go and with a business that's absolutely ready to start. So that's in the spring. Again, we've got 6 places, and 3 of those have already sold as well. So there's only 3 spaces left on the spring 3-day course. And then we've just launched also a portfolio day in February. Portfolio day is we do the morning of a photo shoot and then the afternoon on the business of running an equine photography. It's a much smaller, compacted afternoon of business equine photography, but you'll still get masses from it. And that's in February. All the information's on trainingbarn.co.uk. So if you want to have a look on there, if you click on and then go to tailored, you'll find those group courses on there. So thank you so much for all of you for listening to me waffle on for so long. So where are we? So we've got 10 minutes. I'd like to open up to some Q&A. So if anyone's got any questions that they'd like to ask me, oh goodness, okay, thank you guys. Right, let me just see if I can have a look here. Hi from Sherry, who's from North Carolina. Oh, Sherry, thank you for joining us. That's amazing. Right, okay, let's see. First question, where do parents book your shoot? Okay, so parents normally find me at local shows, or they find me from referrals. So when I say local shows, I do stands at pony club shows, I do stands at local dressage shows, and small and big events. I find that if you can chat to parents at a show, you can grab them for about 20 minutes and really slowly talk them through the whole experience of the photo shoot, get them really excited. You don't need to jump in with what the costs are, what they're going to be buying afterwards, because remember, when they're on your stand, they're going to be looking at your framed images, your prints, your albums. They're also looking at how many shoots you do and all your examples and all your beautiful portraits that you've already got there. So you just get them excited about the photo shoot and then get them into the right mindset of the whole thing. So I find shows is a great way to book your clients, especially parents, because obviously you're not going to get a 14-year-old phone up and book their own photo shoot. The other one is referrals. So as we all know, mums and dads love to chat to other mums and dads, especially if they're in the same circle. So if you give an amazing experience to a mum and daughter, they've gone away and they've got these fantastic images of them and they're going to love them forever, and they've got them plastered all over their house and their frames are up in their kitchen and everything. They're going to tell, you know, the school gates or, you know, pony club mums, they're going to tell them about that experience that they've just had. So referrals is a huge one for me. So I hope that helps. Okay, sorry, Chris, I've literally just seen your message saying I'm going a little fast. I'm really sorry. I'm trying to fit so much into this hour. I could have done this for 3, so really sorry about that. Has anything ever happened on a photo shoot? Yeah, totally. If nothing, touch wood, so nothing disastrous has ever happened, but only 3 weeks ago I was doing this. In fact, you'll see it here. So this gorgeous girlie and her horse Summer in this beautiful crop field. We went up to the crop field. I'd made sure that the field was secure, which I always do. It was a humongous field though. We were doing these shots, always going really well, and there was these huge crops that I really wanted to use as a bit of backdrop. So as we walked the pony up there, one of the crops just brushed her bottom, and of course she span around really quickly and decided, no, I don't want to be part of this anymore, I'm going to go for a run. And off she took, loose across the field. So we got some really good exercise that day. She was absolutely fine. She went and found the nearest patch of grass, head down, happy eating, and we went and grabbed her and everything was fine. Obviously, with things like that, you always reassure the clients that their safety is your priority. I always make sure everything's okay afterwards. I ask lots of questions after a shoot anyway. But when you're looking at using big fields, and this is going back to using like a track that they normally canter on, I will try and avoid, because the pony is likely to go, woohoo, this is where we go, way. So yeah, things totally happen, but you've got to deal with it with experience and confidence. Okay, so average sale of products to families. What is your average sale? Okay, so my average client will purchase 3 or 4 frames, a book album, and digitals. So split up. My photo shoot that I sell at the moment comes with their first big frame. So that's already in the bag. And of course, if you've met them at a show or something, they've kind of forgotten about that investment that they've originally made. And I've also already got their investment, their mindset in that they want these images printed. So let me give you an example. A few weeks ago, the mum that had booked me for the 12-year-old who was learning her pony, she had a house in the country and a flat in London, both really busy, mum and dad, and both children at full-time boarding school. So I knew that when I was chatting to mum, that she'd want, because they went back to their country house every weekend, she'd want to see her beautiful portraits of her daughter in her country house. But also with a really, really busy London life, she wanted to see also portraits in her London house. So I knew I had 2 opportunities there to get prints in. Another thing that while chatting to her, I made sure that her other child, her son, was also going to be at home on the weekend I was doing the shoot. So because he was at home, I said to her halfway through, we should get your son to join us just for 2 or 3 minutes and capture the daughter, the mum and the son together, with or without the pony, but it was just too good an opportunity to miss. And of course, she totally was up for that. They all went and got changed into matching outfits. We took about 3 minutes doing it, and she got one of the frames in her country house and one as a canvas in her London house. So that total, because I listened to that client and I educated her and she was in the right mindset, she ended up with 2 portraits in the kitchen, 1 in the drawing room, 1 big one in her daughter's bedroom, and a 3-in-1 in the daughter's bedroom, and then 3 canvases in the London house, a book because they couldn't narrow the images down anymore, and digitals. Just a quick note on digitals. I always refer to digitals when I'm talking to clients as their backup, so that they can feel that the actual thing they're getting from the experience is those beautiful prints framed. The digitals is the next thing. It's their backup, it's their safety net, so that in 5 or 8 years' time, when, God forbid, they don't have that pony anymore, they've got the digitals, and those fun ones that may not be, you know, when you're spending £1,000 on a frame or whatever, you might not want one with the pony sticking his tongue out, or some fun ones that I tend to include, but because they've got the digitals at the backup, they're still there. So I always talk to them like that. What lens do you usually use during the photo shoot? Great question, and I was actually going to cover this, so thank you for that reminder. I use a 70-200mm, so I shoot Canon. I will use my 70-200 99% of the time for the entire shoot. One of the things I don't want to be thinking about on this photo shoot is changing lenses all the time. If you can't get back far enough and it's amazing backdrop or location, then I'll change to my 24-70, which is a wide angle lens. I will change to that one, but predominantly 99% of the time I'll be using my 70-200 And I also have a beautiful 50mm prime lens that if I want to get a little bit creative and artistic, then I'll tend to get that out at the end of the shoot and shoot a few on the 50mm. So I think that's everything that we've got time for. Oh, thank you, Lucy. That's a really sweet comment. Oh, how many images do you take on a shoot? I tend to take around 380, and I will always deliver at least 100 to 120. That might sound quite a lot, but the key here is variation, and that's how I get my books sold, and multiple frames. So yeah, that's a good one. Keep above 80, and I tend to deliver 120. So thank you so much for everyone that's joined me this evening. I'm sorry if I went a little bit quickly, but there was so much to get over in this webinar. Thank you all for being very, very kind to me on my first one. As I said, all the information on our upcoming courses are on the trainingbarn.co.uk. We're going to be running more webinars like this, so get in touch with us, join the newsletter. If you guys have got any questions, then feel free to email me. It's info@thetrainingbarn.co.uk, and I'll answer as many as possible, as quickly as possible. As I said, we're running the competition for the next 24 hours, so don't forget to start your new year with an absolute bang. Get yourself the free video, which is 1 hour and 20 minutes worth £97, and get on the Shoot and Shadow course with me. As I said, it's on the 12th of December, and this one's with a Grand Prix dressage rider, so we're super lucky that we're going to be shooting at his yard. Thanks again, guys, and I'll speak to you all really soon. Bye.